the very first in terms of hours because we're using the earliest, up until May 12th, 7 p.m. Manila time. That is the voting period. April 13 local time to May 12th, 7 p.m. Philippine time. That is when the overseas voting period ends. So we have to get our online votes in before that time. We hope that all those voters in the certified list of voters do enroll.
Yeah. But moving forward to the next issue, as I said, like, how about like if you are interested to take a dual citizenship, what can the consulate general help in that aspect?
Well, for dual citizenship, that's pretty easy. First, you have to have been a Filipino citizen, or you're a minor whose parents are eligible to reacquire their citizenship. So you're familiar, I guess, with citizenship law, right?
Not yet. I haven't done immigration or citizenship in.
No, I mean,
Oh
like
yeah,
in the Philippines.
admin. Sorry.
In the Philippines, or did you already study law here in Australia? You didn't
Oh,
study law in the
I
Philippines.
didn't study law in the Philippines, just in Australia. Yeah, but we touched on a bit of
Okay.
immigration. Yes. Mhm.
So basically, what makes you Filipino? You're a Filipino if you have a parent that is Filipino. That's based on the our last constitution. Before that, it was a little weird. Like if your father was Filipino, but your mother, if your father is Filipino, fine. But if it's only your mother that's Filipino, you have to elect in previous iterations of the constitution. But at least with the latest constitution and current citizenship laws, if you have a parent that is, especially if you were born after said constitution, if you're born after 1970 and 1986, like, yeah, if as long as you have a parent that's Filipino, you're Filipino. That being said, if you get foreign citizenship, like Australian citizenship, you have to avail of dual citizenship to retain your citizenship. It's for retention. You have to submit documents to retain. These documents are very simple, and same if you become Australian or a New Zealander or both, to retain or reacquire your citizenship, the documents are pretty simple. We just need a PSA birth certificate, like something that's ordered from PSA or a PSA report of birth. Yes, and then your last Philippine passport and proof of your Australian citizenship and your Australian passport. Just those documents, and again, a few more depending on your circumstances, like if you were married and whatnot. Well, they'll be asking for different documents for specialized circumstances. But as a general rule, as long as you have that PSA birth certificate, you should be okay, along with those other documents.
Yeah.
And the most important thing when it comes to dual citizenship is, of course, derivative citizenship, because especially for those second generation Filipinos here, if they were born while one of their parents were Filipino, and yes, so okay, let's think. Okay, let's say that both parents Filipino, child Filipino, born in the Philippines, family moves here to Australia, and then family becomes Australian citizens. In that case, that child who is now 18 or 19, they can elect for dual citizenship on their own. They apply on their own. Let's say there's a Filipino that's here, married an Australian. Child was born before the mother became an Australian citizen. Child was born when the mother was still a Filipino citizen.
Yeah.
In that case, the child, because they got their Australian citizenship from the father, is a dual citizen by birth. So they only need to file for a report of birth, just to show that, just to claim their, dual citizenship. They don't need to go through the lengthy process, but they were born dual citizens. Now, let's say same thing, except the mother was already Australian when the child was born. If the child is under 18 and the mother decides to acquire dual citizenship, she can apply for derivative citizenship for her minor child to get Filipino citizenship. But if the child is over 18, it's, you can't reacquire Filipino citizenship under that law anymore. It's not possible. You have to ask the Bureau of Immigration directly for recognition, and that's a different process altogether. So just that.
But thank you for that information. But another set of questions, particularly for people here in Australia, or they're Australian citizens now, they want to acquire property in the Philippines, or probably they just want to do investments in the Philippines. How is the process? Like, for example, of course, there's issue with national security and with allowing foreign citizens to fully own businesses in the Philippines. So what is the process like, and what's the policy for that and the law for that in the Philippines?
The law? I would defer to your other experts. I believe FALAW also had a seminar on that very recently. I am not the most,
I think they're doing the 2.0.
Yes. Very good question. But as a general rule, it's easier if they just get their dual citizenship. That is the easiest thing. For most of them, it's going to be really easy as dual citizens. That's the easiest thing I can think of. Only think of the other things if acquiring dual citizenship is not possible. Because, again, if you just reacquire or retain your Philippine citizenship, it's all moot. You can do whatever you want if you're dual citizenship. If you're a dual citizen. And as we say, like, for dual citizenship, you have everything to gain, nothing to lose. And for example, did you know that if you enter Vietnam or Bali with a Philippine passport, they won't charge you the same fees that they charge Australians? Right? So especially for a family of like 4 or 5, can you imagine that adds up if you have to pay for everyone's, entrance fees to enter Bali. But with a Philippine passport, you don't have to pay that because we're a fellow ASEAN member.
But I think my question would be moving away from the law aspect. I think, as you said, you referring that to FALAW, more about the services that the consulate provides for that. Of course, like there's a lot of could you specify those services?
Oh, I mean, if you need us to do the notarials, we can. Of course, we do have notarial services here. So people who are purchasing properties in the Philippines, or even starting businesses and whatnot, they do go to us to notarize all the documents, and that's easily done. You can sign up for an appointment on our website and bring the documents and your relative and your identification and all the requirements mentioned as when you sign up for that appointment, and it's a pretty smooth process, and you get it within a few working days, or you can opt to pay the expedite fee for expedited release. But it's all all pretty straightforward.
One last key issue for this, I think, because in one of the social nights, I kind of know I learned first from a conversation about the prevalence of domestic violence, and also especially among Filipino citizens. So in your side, in the PCJ, what services can you give the community, particularly with people, especially women, Filipino women with Filipino citizens, in regards to domestic violence?
Our door's always open to victims of domestic violence. They can they can email, they can call. We have a duty phone that's 24/7. We have an ATN phone that's also 24/7. That if they feel the need to come to us and talk to us, we can our doors are always open. And once we assess the situation, we can refer them to the appropriate experts that are able to deal with their particular case. Again, everything, as we know, is on a case-to-case basis. And when it comes to domestic violence, we're all first, we're always ready, we're always open. If you refer these cases to us, we will refer you to experts. We will call the experts needed, because there is a wide network of Filipino community members who are very active on this issue. But did you know we can also officiate weddings? So
I
if
didn't know
there are
that.
two if there are two Filipino citizens that want to get married in the consulate, we can do so. And
Mm.
it doesn't cost a lot, and plus the venue comes with it. So it's an
Oh, is
option
it
for
conditioned to
two,
choose? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, just two
Oh,
Filipino
just two. Yeah.
citizens.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have to have we don't do it for, a Filipino and a foreigner. We
Yeah.
have to only between two Filipinos. So yes, you can get married here. If you want,
That's
I can officiate your wedding, or the other consul, Jan, can officiate your wedding. It's something we can do here.
a plug here.
Yeah, like, are you getting married to a Filipino? You can get your dual citizenship and you can get married here.
Think about
And
it.
if you see, I mean, and we can schedule a time, and hey, the venue comes with it, so
Mm.
it's an easy venue for a
Mm.
wedding, right?
But moving
Uh,
forward, for the last bit, as the final note, apart from the Independence Day, Independence Square, are there any public events that Filipino Australians or Filipinos or students can come in and engage in for the PCG in the PCG?
for the second half of the year, the only other event I can think of, aside from Independence Day, would be that's already kind of in the works, would be the multi-agency service mission. We call it MASM. That's in the fourth quarter, where we bring different agencies like SSS, Pag-ibig. We bring them to Melbourne, so people PRC. I think. Wait, I'm not sure if PRC is going this year, but usually SSS, Pag-ibig, DMW for your needs. So if you need to transact anything with those agencies, we have a few days in the fourth quarter of the year. Um, uh, yes, a few days in the fourth quarter of the year. They're coming to Sydney and they're coming here. So people who need their services will be able to avail of them. And also in the second half of the year, we also have consular outreaches. We just had a consular outreach in Adelaide recently. So I was in Adelaide last week, delivering the same, the passport, dual citizenship, civil registry services in Adelaide. And we will bring that back to Adelaide in the second half of the year, and we'll also bring it to Tasmania. So the Filipinos in Tasmania are able to avail of these services, because I understand it can be difficult for them to travel to Melbourne for that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, but it's a great final note. But thank you, Ralph, for
Hmm.
being part of this podcast and sharing your insights with us. Thank you.
Of course. See you around.